All right, well, welcome to part two of the Beacon Star 6-inch slab saw slash trim saw combo restoration. So it is actually the next morning from when you seen part one, but you guys probably aren't seeing this for a few days in between. And so I have the first coats on here. I don't have all the parts done. I just took this out of the paint booth about an hour ago. So I'm not going to touch it yet. It hasn't dried, for a full 8 hours. But as you can see, it's a big, big difference. So by probably about noon-ish, I'll take it and I'll scuff it up with a scuffy pad and then do another coat. And then, of course, there's the blade guard. And that's part of the little vise for the slab saw part of it. And there's some other parts too. I got the bearing all finished up. We'll do that in another video, but you can see that's where the label is. So we have that taped off. So she's coming right on her way. What we do in these restorations is on the top, on the table, which is going to see all the wear. Obviously, you're going to be, putting rough on it and everything else on the Senate slabs on it. We do 6 coats of a hard enamel paint with ceramic in it that we build up, scuff up in between each layer. And then we do additional clear coats on top of that when that's finished. So, it takes a while, just the paint process alone. And then on the tank or the body, the mild to nowhere parts on there, we do 3 coats of a paint and then several coats of clear coat, at least 2 coats of clear coat. And then that's about it. So it's going to take quite a few days before this is, the paint's all done on it. And then I'll let it sit for some time before we even do anything with it, because last thing you want to do is scratch up the paint. And like I said, this paint, it takes a full 2 weeks before it's fully hardened and cured. So, obviously, even if this was put back together, say after, a week, you wouldn't want to actually use the saw. But that's okay. There's a ton of other little odds and ends and stuff that I have to, to kind of go through. So I'm going to take this over to the paint booth and let it sit in front of the dryers for a little while. And then come back and work on the arbor a little bit more. I'll show you the arbor here. So that's how far I am along right now. I don't want to take it out. I actually have it sitting in there for a reason. So she came along. And so far, like I said in the past video, it's salvageable. So that's really a good thing. But we got a little ways to go on that. And we'll be on our way. So here he goes, on to the next part. Alright guys, well, welcome back. So we are done with paint. It's been a few days later. And so in total on the table here, we have a total of 6 layers of paint on there, sanded in between each layer, scuffed. And then 3 layers of clear coat on there. And then we did the same, on the table rather, I'm sorry. On the tank here, we do 3. 3 layers of paint. And the reason that we do that there's 3 versus 6, is this where you have all your wear. Where you're going to be putting your rocks or your slab and dragging your vise, so on and so forth. So anything that's high wear like this is 6 layers. Anything that's not, very rarely do you ever even move your base. So that's 3 layers. So it takes some time because you got drying time in between of them, and the heaters, they actually help, but I hate running them this time of the year because the shop's already hot. So we got that all done. Our paint is completely done, and what did I do with the arbor? Oh man. Okay, I was just walking around the shop with the arbor in my hand. Oh man, I hate when I do this. You're serious? Yep. Alright, well, I was walking around the shop with the arbor in my hand, and I was all proud. I finally got it finished up. And I was talking to my one employee here, and I set it down somewhere. Oh boy. Alright, well, I'll figure it out. So next step, what we'll do is we're actually going to install. This is the cross slide, and this is all refinished. This is the cross slide for the vise. And I'm always really super careful when I'm doing this, because this paint it takes 2 weeks to dry before it's fully dry. So that there allows this guy here to sit right on top, and like I said, I'm trying to be very careful. I'm not going to drag it on the table yet. And you have a little clamp, and you clamp your rock down in that, and that allows you to push it through. So this, I have to put the Allen keys in here and stuff, but just to give you guys an idea for demonstration purposes, that's what it looks like. And that's what that looks like. And what's nice with this is you can actually move this in or out. Really easy. There's just a couple little wing nuts. Yep, being careful again. There's just a couple little wing nuts here that you loosen between each slab, and you just move it out. And you can actually put a graduation on here if you want it to. That would actually be really handy to put a little notch on the top and put a graduations in there. In other words, you can even print out a ruler and put little measurement graduations, so you know exactly how far you're moving it for each one. It's actually a really good idea. So that's all done. I have to take the tape off the threads here. And then there's the tank. So we left the original label all intact on it. Most times, 90% of the time, they're kind of roached. But everything came out really nice on it. The drain plug in this is actually welded in. It must have been done in the factory, because when I went to sandblast it, the original paint was over top of the weld. So for some reason, they welded a drain plug in these. Why, I don't know. Everything is all nice and cleaned out in the bottom. We have it all painted. We actually clear coated two coats of clear coat in the bottom as well of it. Not that these drain plugs are really going to do anything, but you can literally, the way that this mounts, it mounts on a hinge, so it allows you to pick the whole table up anyways, and you can simply take and dump the oil out when you need to change. So the drain plug, in all reality, would actually probably be more of a hassle, than it's worth. I did keep the original blade on this. It was an old Lortone blade, but I painted it. I actually threw it in the sandblaster, and we painted it because it had still a lot of life on it. Now, I did take it and I resharpened the whole thing, so this thing is going to cut like a new blade again. But it is a used blade. You see, it says Lortone on it, and they made pretty decent blades. There was no reason to throw this out. So that's the blade. So much for being careful again. And go on to the next step. Okay, so here's the arbor. So I was able to refurb the arbor. Everything is in good shape. And she's all ready to go. It just needs to, I have to degrease it. Oh, excuse me, I have to degrease it yet. And then put it over in the paint booth. Unfortunately, I did not paint it when I painted these. But there was some work and stuff that needed to be done to this. So I kind of, this was a project within itself. And it's a very important part of the saw. So I didn't want to, rush it, just like I paint at the same time. But I'll paint this here this evening. In fact, I'll probably paint it in the next 20 minutes here. And once this is painted, then, we're good to go. And we could start the assembly. So your arbor, as you guys know, your arbor fits right on here like this. And then your pulley fits on the end here, and so on and so forth. And that's where your blade sits. So, critical part of the saw. Without that, it's not a saw. So, on to the next step. And I mentioned just before I close off, if any of you guys are interested or need any repairs or restorations, if you guys find like an old saw, cabbing machine, fastening machine, even an old shaping machine, sphere machines, that needs work done to it, feel free to contact me. You can contact us on Facebook, right at the top there, Hilmer's Fine Minerals. You can find us right on Facebook and shoot me a PM, or you can text me at that number below there, right down there. I won't pick up if you do a voice call on it, because we've been getting absolutely hammered, and I mean hammered, like I'm talking about 10 a day of telemarketers. Somehow somebody gave our number out to telemarketers, and I didn't want to change the business number because that's been our number for like 20 years. So we're getting hammered with phone calls. So right now, text, on it. If I can figure out how to get rid of all the telemarketers down the road, obviously we'll do calls again. I can call you on that number, but we're just not picking it up if we don't know who it is, because every time I pick up, it ends up being a telemarketer wanting to sell me a car warranty, or, I don't know, or my student loans, which I don't even have student loans. But, all right, you guys, well, hey, we're going to go on to the next step. So stay tuned. Here we go. Okay, well, I'm going to take these in the paint room and put these in front of the heater for probably the rest of the day, or so. I'm getting ready to pack up anyways, and I can't be down here when the heaters are on, because it just, not in this weather. And you see the paint's all nice and shiny. I did like a rough assembly on it, but I didn't want to keep anything together until the paint's fully hardened. So I'll let it harden for another maybe 24 hours, maybe even 48 hours, because we do some kind of humidity and stuff like that this time of year. So I'll take that whole tray in and set it in there. I actually got to stand up that little blade guard. And then on the next video, part 3, will be the final assembly. And you'll see we'll hook a motor up to her and see how she runs. Well, guys, I thank you so much for watching the Lapidary channel. Feel free to visit our website at www.hilmersfineminerals.com, or you can find us on Facebook at Hilmer's Fine Minerals. And check out if you check out my personal page, which is Kelly, K-E-L-Y, and then just Hiller, H-I-L-L-E-R. We do weekly, or sometimes even bi-weekly, sometimes even 3 times a week. We do live rough sales, where we sell rough and slabs of lapidary material, and you can even buy equipment or anything like that, or supplies if you want during the sale. You just have to ask for it. So we will see you guys on the next one. I thank you guys, and you have a wonderful day. Take care.